We got some updates on the new M3 Macs coming out soon. We also got some specials on existing Macs. If you like Apple news, let's get into it.
Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just
Welcome back to the channel. If you watched my channel before, you know what's going to happen. We're going to go through about 10 to 15 different Apple news stories. I'm going to show you a whole bunch of different stuff, share my screen a bunch of times. Without further ado, let's get into it. All right, for the first story, I have 3 different Mac specials online right now. These are too good to be kind of passed up, so I want to show people where these deals are. Take a look at my screen over here. The first one's going to be the MacBook Air. This is the 13-inch version, M2, 8 gigs, 256 gigs, so it's the base model. But the cool thing is, this is Starlight, all right? $949 right now at Micro Center. So here's Micro Center. If you have one near you, or you live in the United States, check this out. $949, $150 off that price. That's pretty crazy, right? And it's not even the blue color, which usually gets discounted because of the fingerprints. This is Starlight. This is a good price. The next one I wanted to show you really quickly, and this is pretty amazing too. Again, Micro Center. These 3 will be at Micro Center. Take a look at this though. $13.99. Now this is going to be a refurbished model. The other one was new. This is refurbished, but still $13.99. This is the M1 Pro. This is the 14.2 inch, mind you, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 SSD. $13.99, refurbished from Micro Center, but they're still almost like brand new. This is a great deal if you want to get into video editing or anything like that. I mean, it's a really good deal. And then finally, this is another new system over here at Micro Center, $200 off. This is the M2 Pro chip. So the Pro version, the 10-core version, $10.99, $200 off right now. It's not used. Comes with 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigabyte SSD for $1,099. You got to have a monitor, obviously. That's a great deal as well. So just wanted to start off with these 3 specials. All right, the next story is from 9to5Mac. Over here it says 15-inch MacBook Air demand is low. If you can imagine, I thought it was going to be the best-selling Mac. If you scroll all the way down here, it says, let me just see if I can find it. It says right here, reports stated that the supply chain's July shipment volume is 50% less than they estimated. 15% less. So why is that? Is it really because this is not a good system? No, it's just because I think all the other systems were so good. I have an M1, people got M2s, they got the 13-inch, and nobody's ready to buy the 15-inch M2 right now just because everyone bought the other ones. So I think it's going to become their #1 seller soon, but right now it's down 50%. All right, next story, look over here. It says the first M3 Macs are coming soon. Here's everything we know. This is from 9to5Mac as well. So the cool thing, and really the way you want to get out of this is obviously we're changing over to the 3nm process for the chip, smaller chipset there. But the cool part down here is it says, they're just doing a comparison. It says, let me just see here, the M3 Pro chip will feature 12 CPU cores and 18 GPU cores and a maximum of 36 gigs of RAM, up from 32, which is kind of interesting. So it has 2 more CPU and 2 more GPU cores compared to the M2 Pro chip, and it also has 36 up to 36 gigs instead of up to 32 gigs for the M2 Pro chip. So the M3 chip is going to be a step up there. Now they did a couple of comparisons. This is again from them. And these are just completely, it says, well, it actually says Macworld took a stab. So this is going to be from Macworld. If you look in here, I'll point, this is going to be the multi-score. So they're estimating the M3 Max is going to be 598 versus the M2 Max 1400. And then down here, this is just the M3 base model. So 11,000 for the M3 estimate, up from 9,700 for the M2. So, and again, that's from Macworld. Pretty cool, right? Not bad. It's going to be going up, and it's going to be just getting better and better. All right, the next story over here is from 9to5Mac as well. It says Gurman, the guy that's usually right or wrong, expects the iPhone 15 prices to increase. They're going to be offering, now this is going to be the 15, so, but let me just go down here. It says, let me just see if I can find it in here. It says it somewhere. It says, the 15 Pro Max could increase by as much as $200. So that's the Pro Max, obviously, because of a titanium case and stuff. But still, $200 increase possibly on the Pro Max. That's what Gurman's saying, because they're doing some kind of, obviously the actual periscope zooming as well is going to increase the cost. These things are already super expensive, especially the Max version. I mean, do people want to spend $200 more? I think that's getting a little bit pricey at that point. And then obviously there's other options out there. Another story here, this says Apple is planning to basically reduce the iPad bezels on the future versions, and they're working with LiPo technology, and basically it says low injection pressure over molding technology. That's what that stands for all it's worth. Anyways, I was looking at this and it says it's going to get considerably, a lot smaller basically. They're going to shrink them down to about 1.5 millimeters from about 2.2 millimeters as far as the bezel, right? But the funny thing is, and I thought the exact same thing, there's a comment down here at the bottom and the guy says, not sure I get the idea of smaller bezels on a device you want to hold, right? It might make sense for monitors, stuff that you're not holding, but if everything you're going to hold, you want some kind of bezel. I've actually tried phones with no bezels, and sometimes you get kind of the false touches and stuff. So let me know what you think. I think it looks nice, but I think they need to keep some kind of bezel on the iPad just to, just so you can hold it. This next one's kind of cool. Check it out online. Over here it says Apple Maps expands detailed city experience. So what does this mean, right? So if you look here, I'm just going to put this up really quickly. On these cities right over here, and I'll put this up, it's Atlanta all the way down to Washington, D.C., some in Chicago. Apple's doing kind of a revision to their mapping to make things, when you zoom in specifically, got a lot more detail in it, right? So what does that mean? So here's a good example. Here's the new map over here, and this is going to be a stadium here of Houston, because it's done in Houston right now. And then Denver hasn't been done yet. It hasn't updated the maps yet. So you can see the difference. It's got colors, it's got trees down here, the roads are different. If you look at the standard version down here, everything's grayed out, and it doesn't have, the roads are all very similar in size, and there's no trees. So it's going to be adding additional features like this in the updated maps on Apple. And again, it launched in those different cities there, so it's not universal worldwide right now, but everything's getting better with Apple Maps, and it's starting, I think, to come close to challenging Google Maps. Still not there yet, but getting closer. You know me, I always like to throw a story in like this. Here it says Apple sneakers for sale for $50,000. Take a look at this, not including sales tax. Here they are right here. I guess these were given out as kind of like Apple had a, they were giving them out to people during an event or something, and some people kept them around and didn't wear them and stuff. And anyways, it's 1980s, I believe, somewhere in that range. So they're going for $50,000 right now, at least up on auction, and they may even go higher than that. And they're saying in here, well, it's not that bad considering unsealed iPhones, and we're selling for 100 and something thousand. So this might go up a little bit in price. But I mean, if you had those shoes, first of all, the soles get really bad after that. They start kind of disintegrating. But still, 50 grand, and you had a possibility of those soles to disintegrate. I'm not sure I would put my money there, but you would definitely be cool walking around in those. All right, the next story kind of gets me a little sad. It says Apple retail stores will soon be able to offer home delivery for customer orders. See this? So if you walk into an Apple store, they'll be able to now say, all right, we'll home deliver instead of you have to pick it up and take it with you. Now, why does that make me sad? It's extra feature, right? Makes me sad because everything around us is basically going away. Everything's going to be online soon. All the malls are closing. Me and my wife talked about it. Like, we can't even go to the mall anymore and walk around at night. Everything's closed down. I mean, you just have to order things online. This is another step towards maybe closing Apple stores eventually, and I'm just not happy with it. I like going in and touching products, seeing them. I don't know what you guys feel like. Maybe it's the young generation, but I just like it. The next one is a little sad as well, but I think it's going to be okay. It says right here, TSMC Arizona chip production delayed from 2024 to 2025. So that new chip production company in Arizona is being delayed by a year, basically. And what does that mean, basically? Well, they were going to make some 4 nanometer chips, which is a little different for some older devices and things like that, and then get into 3 nanometer production to help with that. So, but why is this being delayed? Well, if you look at the next article over here, this could be possibly the reason. It says Apple supplier TSMC delays production of 4 nanometer chips because it can't find any skilled workers, right? So it's saying that it's going to have up to 1,500 people that can work on this kind of stuff at the factory, but they're having problems finding the exact people that have that knowledge and skill to work at that to actually create the chips. So they kind of go hand in hand. I'm not sure that's why it's completely being delayed. It might be more construction, but just interesting to note. All right, the next one is the technology is changing so quickly, right? And I'm not sure I even like some of these things. So if you look here, it says Apple considering foldable iPad, right? Now, on paper, it looks kind of cool. You can see a picture of it here. It's saying foldable iPad would launch possibly in 2024, so it's not that far away. But as things change here, I see a lot of the foldable phones. I've tried them before, and I just don't like them that much. I mean, there's usually a crease, and they're just, I just like to have my phone right there, just work on it instead of having to open it up. Now, I know there's applications for this. You'll have a bigger screen, smaller footprint, carry it around with you, stuff like that. But are you guys ready for this? Do you want everything foldable? Does everything have to be foldable? Isn't the iPad kind of nice at that small size where you can work on it just like a flat piece of paper? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Am I just being old school here? I like the idea, but as long as I still sell the flat one, I would be okay with it. But if everything goes to foldable and the cost goes up, I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about it. The next one is more of just everything's changing in price. Food prices are up. Everything in the world's kind of going up, right? If you're an Apple user and you use Spotify, unfortunately, like everyone else, Spotify increases the premium plan price to $10.99 a month from $9.99 a month. So I don't know, that's a little less than 10%. So it feels like all these kind of subscription services that started low, like Netflix, you name it, Hulu, everything's creeping up slowly, and now they're all adding up to be almost more than your basic cable bill before. I know this is music, but still, everything's creeping up slowly but surely. And the question is when will it stop? Obviously, will it stop? Will inflation make it worse? We'll find out. But $10.99, $9.99 doesn't sound like a lot of money, but it all adds up. So the next one's kind of a fun article. If you guys like soccer or like watching Messi, it says over here, MSL season pass sets new viewership records. So obviously with Messi coming into the MSL league, soccer league, the records are just going crazy. This article states that over 100 different countries are watching now. Apple's also subscriptions for this MSL season pass is surpassing, they think, quite over a million viewers right now. So it started at 1 million before Messi joined, and now it's going way up from there. So think about, it might be 1 million, 2 million, that many subscriptions coming in. So how much does it cost? It looks like in here it's around $100 a year for the MSL season pass. So if you want to watch all the MSL games throughout the season, you pay $100 once, and it can change depending on if it's monthly. Overall, though, Messi's done a lot of stuff for the league, and obviously it's doing a lot for Apple as well, owning that. Unfortunately, he gets paid, I think, $54 million a year just from the MLS, so a lot of that money goes right back to him, although I don't know if it's Apple paying him or his soccer team. And then we'll finally wrap this up. The last article is kind of one of those things I kept talking about. So the Pro Vision, I keep saying it's not going to be the iPhone. There's so many complications. This kind of backs it up until the next couple iterations. Developers need to measure their heads before they can receive an Apple Vision Pro kit. So if you scroll down, Mark Gurman's showing some kind of screenshots in here where it says headbands, light seals. So they're asking you to measure your head, also ask if you're wearing glasses and stuff. So it's not like you're going to be able to walk into a store and just buy one of these things right now. You got to have the measurements correct so it works correct and you get the best experience. I think that's all going to change. Again, this is not going to be the final version. And ultimately, though, it's going to be a very complicated thing to sell and buy and stuff later on and be very expensive still. So I don't think it's changing the iPhone or anything like that anytime soon. Let me know what you think. I think it's going to be great, but I just think at the end of the day, we're still 5-6 years off of this becoming mainstream. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. This is the news for this week. I do these about once a week or so. Let me know if you guys like them. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you can, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.